Well, the Bears here are talking about the concept of being playoff ready, and they're talking about 5 more games. We had the chant a couple days ago. Packers seem real keyed in on Saturday. And they seem very confident. They don't sound like a team who's lost 4 games in a row.
They seem like a team that has hit the reset button because they really did have a week of rest. The starters were rested. They did lose 4 in a row. Micah Parsons being gone, it's become a different team. They got ran through by the Ravens between now and then. They saw an onside kick not go their way after dominating the Bears for, 59 minutes? So I understand why the Packers have a very different attitude after having been to the playoffs multiple times than the Bears do as they're returning to the postseason for the first time in half a decade. I get it. I also understand why they think they're better. Because at this point, I think they're better.
I think Matt LaFleur's natural state is unbothered. He's not the guy who's going to let you see any sort of fissure, or any sort of inconsistency in the armor. You're not going to see that out of him. There's no crack in the facade. But we've listened to a lot of Jeff Hafley, especially the last month or so, when you consider how many times the two teams have played each other. And I'm always curious as to what he says because I respect him as a defensive coordinator. And frankly, he's going to tell you what he's doing and you're going to know. And it's still your job to stop it on the other side. And then it was also open locker room time in Green Bay. So there were some things that were discussed.
They're a little too open, huh? Or maybe not.
But that's my point. This is a team, and this is a team who lost 4 games in a row, yes. But we know that's a big asterisk when it comes to having to have your backup quarterback play for 2 whole games, a half of another one. This isn't a typical situation and scenario. They purposefully rested their starters. And once you consider that there is a little bit of a dance there between Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur that perhaps when he said we play our starters, we're a football team, we play football, that maybe it wasn't a knock on the Eagles like I thought because that was the team trying to get the 2 seed alongside you. But perhaps it was Green Bay.
I understand why Green Bay rested its starters. I understand why Ben Johnson played his, because they need to get better at football. The only way you get better at football is by playing football. Matt LaFleur knows what he has, right? He understands his team and has them playing at the level that they've been playing. Ben Johnson, in his mind, is still working with players who are trending up because they're still learning his system. It's the end of the first year, but it's still year 1 under Ben Johnson.
Oh, yeah. And that said, that's why I feel like this is still, to me, a bonus for whatever you get with success. Then there comes the granular, these are winnable games. Here's how X, Y, and Z. They could have won if they had done this. But the point is, all of it overall, still a bonus, in my opinion, at least after watching 2 10-game losing streaks in the past couple of years, them qualifying for the first overall pick, them getting it the next year, all of that. I feel much more confident. It's kind of like our conversation yesterday, right? Out of all the coaches who could be on the hot seat in the NFL, Matt LaFleur, theoretically one of them, if the Packers don't win because of the playoff expectation. Even though his record is 3-5, I'm confident in Ben Johnson. So I'm confident in that. This is still very much in the beginning stages for me. But what I heard from the Green Bay Packers yesterday did not indicate a team that has lost 4 games and is playing with that kind of, I wouldn't say urgency in mind, but listen to the confidence, for example, out of Christian Watson.
I definitely wanted to play the Bears. If I had my pick, for any team, it would have definitely been the Bears. I want my get back for sure. We get a chance to put the Bears season to bed. That means a lot to us for sure.
He wants his get back. And you know what? For the Packers, and I realized this after listening to that locker room sound, after listening to Jeff Hafley, Matt LaFleur, they sound like the Bears sounded going into Week 18, going up against a Lions team where they wanted to prove that's not who we are, what you saw back in Week 2. Now the Packers are telling you, we won the first game. In our minds, we should have won the second game, and what happened at the end of that second game is not who we are. And not only do we get a chance to avenge that loss, but we can send our bitter rival home for the rest of the season? Yes, I understand, Christian Watson. The confidence comes from the fact that you trailed for how long? Oh, wait, you never did trail until the final play of the game.
Well, and Jeff Hafley spoke to that very thing.
I think we had a good 59 minutes in the last game that we played them, truthfully. But I give them credit. After they got the onside kick, they went down and scored, and then they hit the big play. So I thought we had a good game plan. I thought our guys executed. I thought we executed in that Bears game for the majority of the game at a really high level. I thought we played physical. I thought we stopped the run. I think the third down, we were extremely efficient, getting pressure on the quarterback. And I thought our guys did a good job. But to answer your question, that's not good enough, right? I said 59 minutes. I didn't say 60. We have to finish for 60 minutes. And that's what it's going to take to beat the Bears. And that's what it's going to take to win a playoff game. So whatever we have to do, whatever adjustments we have to make throughout the game, we got to finish it. We got to start fast, but we need to finish. And clearly we didn't do a good enough job the last time we played them.
Unbothered. Does that even sound like a guy who wants his get back? He's like, no. The next logical conclusion is that my team is winning this game. That's how he sounded.
When you only give up 126 yards in the first half of a game, and you feel like even though your offense isn't doing much, but you held them scoreless, I get where Jeff Hafley is coming from.
71 in the game prior.
Exactly. So from his standpoint and from the Packers' point of view, they're like, yeah, we beat them straight up. Yeah, they made a comeback, but unlike all those other teams, the first game I'm saying, they weren't able to finish it off. Now, the second game, they needed a freaking onside kick to do it.
Well, I was going to continue my thought in saying this, is that you sound real confident, and you can say it was 59 minutes and you lost in the first game. But you forget that it took an interception in the end zone in the one previous to hold on to the game before that. That the fourth quarter has more weight in this algorithm because the Bears make it have more weight. The Bears do more in the fourth quarter. It's the opposite of the Bulls game last night.
Oh, man.
What we saw in the last two games against this team were the Bears making adjustments and the offense being successful. And remember what happened in that first game, where Ben Johnson said, we didn't make halftime adjustments. Okay. I could understand also why a team you faced twice in a season and theoretically now 3 times, maybe you were preparing for that as well. I could understand why you don't want to give that up, or maybe that's something you don't want to say. And remember what he said? He said that instead it was the 3-yard runs and the 2-yard runs were going for 4 and 5. But we know they didn't run the ball enough in that first half. We know they weren't productive enough with it in the first half. But then to have the defensive coordinator, who really is an extension here when it comes to tone of Matt LaFleur, and Jeff Hafley has every reason to be confident in his defense, even without Micah Parsons, because of how successful they were at least pressuring Caleb Williams and at least defending the run to the extent that they did and holding them to those bad totals in the first halves of each game. You sound real calm, aside from your record showing that you did lose 4 in a row going into this. As much as Bears fans didn't want to lose 2 in a row going into this, where would you be mentally if you knew you had lost 4, regardless of who was playing?
Do you feel like the Bears' comeback was more the Bears being optimal or the Packers falling off? That's really what this kind of comes down to, whether you're talking about the 16 points in the fourth quarter the last time or the 18 second half points they gave up in the first meeting. Was that more the Bears playing like the Bears are supposed to play or the Packers defense slipping?
Well, 847 makes a good point here. You can call us and text us 312-644-6767. The 847 says, Matt LaFleur knows his team, a team who lost to Philly at home, only scoring 7 points, a team who lost to Cleveland. And yes, those things are true. It's also a team who beat the Bears in the first meeting and almost beat the Bears in the second. And that's where the difference is. The devil is in the details here. And you're right to talk about that Lions game, Marshall, because as much as the Bears wanted to prove they were different and wanted to send a message, and I would imagine that Ben Johnson would have wanted to beat his former team in Week 18 based on what happened in Week 2. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And I hope that that momentum and that anger and that uneasiness feeling, the energy that Ben Johnson had after that game on Sunday, gets carried right on through to Saturday when the clock hit 0 at the end of the game.
In a way, I'm glad that this game is Saturday, not Sunday. Less time between games because, like, you want that intensity, that disgust, if you will, that Ben Johnson was not only feeling. You can feel it just in the room if you're, David Haugh or Dan Weeder, but also in that locker room and the way they've been talking ever since. You want to make sure nothing is lost between Sunday and Saturday.